Hi. We all know that we should perhaps be mobilizing our body a little bit more. As more and more science comes out, it becomes really, really apparent that mobility in our joints is so important at any age, but particularly as we begin to get a little bit older, maybe as we have sedentary lifestyles, which lockdown is causing. So most of us have a bit more sedentary lifestyles than we normally do. Mobility is so important to keep our joints happy and healthy. So today we've got a 10-minute mobility sequence. So it's a little bit of yoga, but mobility focused. So there's a difference between flexibility and mobility. I won't go into all of it now, but essentially mobility is using your muscles at that end range of motion, whereas flexibility is purely as far as your body can go, usually using an external force such as gravity or pressure from elsewhere in your body, whereas mobility is your muscle power at the end range of motion. So it's a little bit more controlled. Because of that, you might find some of the exercises, some of the moves that we do today a little bit tricky. Don't worry about it. The idea of mobility is that we do it a little and often. So come back to this video, come back to this session, maybe try and do it a couple of times a week. If that's too much, once a week. You don't have to go all in absolutely mad to begin with. Just dip your toes in, see how you feel, give it a go. Hopefully, as you begin to maybe get used to some of the exercises, as you incorporate them into your lifestyle, hopefully you'll start to notice a difference. So you will need a mat and you need to make sure that you're fit and healthy as always to practice with me. If you've never met me before, I'm Naomi, and thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to start in all fours, so bring your wrists underneath your shoulders. You want to spread the fingers as wide as you can, and that's going to begin to activate into your arms. You don't want to just hang out here. And yes, you might be doing this first thing in the morning. Mobility first thing in the morning is lovely, but you do have to put in a touch of effort. So if you've just rolled out of bed, get into that mind frame now of making a little bit of effort today. So we're going to spread those fingers. Find a neutral spine and just take a couple of cycles of breath. You might want to close the eyes. And just bring yourself onto your mat. So wherever your head is, if you're doing this at the end of the day or maybe as a lunch break, maybe your head is elsewhere. If you're doing this first thing in the morning, maybe your head is actually really present, or maybe you're running through your to-do list. Just spend a moment with me breathing now. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose, or sigh it out if you need. Just bring yourself onto the mat. Keeping the hands as they are, dip the belly button, open the chest, and just lift the gaze forward. And we're going to move through our cat-cow. So this will be pretty familiar to you if you've done any amount of yoga. So inhale, dip the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone. And exhale, then round through the spine, gaze between the knees. And as we move through our cat-cow today, I want you to really pay attention to how you move your spine and how you use your muscles. So as you arch your spine, you should be feeling the abdominal muscles working. And as you lower your belly, as you come into that little bit of a back bend, you should feel the back muscles, so the posterior chain, the muscles of the shoulder blades particularly, really firing up. Inhale, big breath, opening the chest. Exhaling, rounding through the spine, gazing between the knees. Taking one more, seeing each time if maybe you can find a little bit more range of motion, but with that control that makes it mobility, not flexibility. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round through the spine. And then bring yourself back to a neutral spine. And just gently reach that right arm all the way forward so it comes in line with the ear. If you find as you bring it in line with the ear that you have to dip or change the spine, then just lower the arm a bit. Release the hand down, just hover it, lift. So it's a little bit of activation, this one, just getting that shoulder blade activated. Lift and release. Switch sides. Inhale, lifting right arm all the way up and release down. Lift. And release. One more time, lift. And then release. Really nice. We're going to walk those hands a little bit further out. And just briefly come into puppy dog pose. So this is fully passive. This is working on your flexibility. And then from your puppy dog pose, which is a little bit of a back bend, really nice for opening the chest. But we're going to slightly mobilize it. We're going to use our mobility, not just our flexibility. And I want you to draw the lower ribs in. So you'll allow the lower ribs to dip towards the earth. Then use the muscles around your shoulders, draw the lower ribs in, and find almost a bit of an arch through the back. So allow the spine to just come into a little bit of a curve, and then neutralize that curve by drawing those lower ribs in. So you may need to take a moment just to look at your screen to figure out what on earth I'm talking about, but hopefully you should see as you inhale, you just open the chest a touch. And as you exhale, you draw the lower ribs in, you really, really squeeze. So this is really, really good for shoulder health. One more time. And then walk the hands all the way back towards the chest. You should be back in all fours, and you're probably feeling that the shoulders have done a little bit of work there. So it's not quite as relaxing maybe as you thought, but bear with me, keep going, and I promise you'll feel brilliant afterwards. Take the left hand to the center of the mat and reach the right hand all the way up to the sky. And then we're going to bend at the elbow, take the fingertips to the head, to the temples, and then just bring that elbow down towards the mat. Doesn't matter how far you go, don't worry about that. If you keep going with this, you'll notice a difference, but it really isn't important, your range of motion. Like with our traditional yoga poses, it doesn't matter about getting into that full pose, it's more how it feels for you. So open, exhale, elbow towards the wrist. Inhale, open, and exhale, bring it down. Good, really nice. Open one more time, use the muscles of the back body. Good, and then switching sides. So we bring the right hand to the ground, reach left hand up to the ceiling, bend at the elbow, bring the hand to the temples, and then bring the elbow towards the wrist. Inhale, open. Exhale, close it off. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. So we're really, really mobilizing through that shoulder, getting ourselves warmed up and ready to go for the day, or perhaps as a little bit of a break. One more time. Exhale, elbow to wrist. Inhale, open as high as you can. And then release. Take those hands a little bit further forward, tuck the toes, push up and back, downward facing dog. You may need to pedal out the feet. Take it a touch slower than you normally do. So we're just lengthening out. And then we're slowly going to rise up onto the balls of the feet. And then exhale, sink the heels down towards the earth. Keep the hips lifted, sink the heels. Inhale, rise. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. So we're just mobilizing, stretching out through those ankles now. Inhale, lift, and the toe joints as well. And lower. Rock forward to a plank and push it back. Getting those shoulder joints a little bit more awake. And then push back. Take the feet together at your downward facing dog. This one's going to be a little tricky for those shoulders. If you need a break, take a break. Just come to child's pose. We're going to lift our right leg to the sky and bend the knee for me. Then I want you to open the knee to the side without your pelvis moving, and then draw the knee up towards your shoulder. It's never going to reach, don't worry. And then bring it to the center and back. Lift it all the way out to the side. Pelvis stays really, really steady. You'll be shaking and shivering. That's okay. Keep it going. We've got one more. So we're doing 3 each side. Really, really rotate in that hip joint without moving the pelvis. And then place that down. If you need a child's pose, take a child's pose. Otherwise, rock forward and rock back. Lift your left leg. And then bend the knee. Keep the pelvis as it is. Open the left knee to the side. Draw the knee as close to that shoulder as you can, and then bring it to center. So we're going slow. Replace to normal, and then open knee out to the side. Squeeze all the muscles that you never knew you had. And then bring it back. Good. One more time. Open the knee out to the side. Pelvis stays level. And then bring it all the way back. And replace that foot to the mat. We're going to rock forward to plank position. Rock back to downward facing dog. Bear with me. We're taking the weight out those shoulders, I promise. Step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. If you need to encourage it there by taking the hand to the ankle, go ahead. But end up in a lunge with that left foot outside of the left hand. Drop the back knee down. And then just move ever so slightly forward and back. Not too much, just gently encourage that hip a little bit more open. And then reach up to the ceiling with your left hand. Maybe you choose to lift that right knee as well. Bend into the left elbow, hand to temple, and we're going to take that rotation again. Elbow towards the mat. Inhale, open. 2 more times. Elbow comes down. Really good. Keep it going. That back knee can be up or down. The choice is yours, depending on the amount of fire you want today. Inhale, open. Place the hand to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. We're going to come to the other side. So lift that right leg up. And as you come forward, allow space between the shoulder blades to encourage that leg to the outside of the right hand. Drop the left knee down. Reach the right hand to the ceiling. If you want that a little bit more challenge today, lift up through your left knee. And then bend the elbow, take the hand to the temple. Exhale, bring the elbow to between the foot and the hand on the mat, open. So we're working into our thoracic mobility, but also our hip mobility here. Inhale, open. Exhale, bring it in. And then inhale, open. Beautiful. Bring the hands to the mat. Lift, hoik, whatever it is, get that back foot in. And take the feet so they're about hip width apart. We're going to sink the hips down. Find your yogi squat. If your heels are off the ground, that's okay. If you're a lot higher up, if you're somewhere up here, don't worry about it. That's also okay. Just find what works for you. And then maybe just gently sway side to side. So that's less mobility here, more flexibility because we're using the force of gravity. Remember, really long with the spine. And then just take the hands to the mat and turn your toes so that they are parallel with one another. You might find you come a lot higher up. That's okay. Keep your hands on your mat and just gently come into your squat. So this is massively going to counteract your sedentary lifestyle, as in your work from home at your slightly dodgy height desk. So this is going to really, really be good for you. Inhale, come all the way up. Just wiggle the feet so they come hip width apart. Roll through the spine. Inhale, lift the hands all the way to the ceiling. We're going to bend over to the right. So take a side bend to the right. And then exhale, flop it forward. Roll all the way up. Last move here. Lift the hands to the sky. Bend over to the left. Take that side bend. And then just roll through your spine. And then roll all the way up to standing. Maybe give yourself a roll of the shoulders. And you are done. So hopefully you can notice a difference in how your joints feel. Maybe your muscles feel a little bit tired. That is okay. When you start mobility work, you will feel a little bit tired. It will get easier with time, particularly if you stick to the same mobility exercises for a few weeks, maybe even a month, to notice that progression. Have a lovely rest of your day. And if you want to get any more classes, or if you want to know what I'm up to, feel free to check out my Instagram down below, and there's loads of updates on there, or you can subscribe to my newsletter as well. The link is all below for you if you want. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye guys.